And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Chalk Talk. I am your host, Kim Davis. Happy Tuesday. It is the first Tuesday in July. Today is July the 6th. I hope that you had a safe and relaxing holiday weekend, that you got out of it whatever you wanted and made it back safely if in fact you were traveling. So what did I do? I worked out. I spent some time with family, and I did a little bit of work. I did, but it was a good weekend. So back at it, and glad to be here with you today on Tuesday. A lot to talk about in sports. Okay, I'd love to hear your thoughts about a number of topics. Okay, so we're going to talk about the Olympics. There's a few stories as it relates to Olympics. I'm only going to talk about a couple of them. I'm going to let you hear some sound about a couple of them. We're going to talk about the Sha'Carri Richardson story, and I'm going to share my thoughts on it. I've given it some thought, and my first thought is that my heart goes out to the young woman. She's incredibly talented, and she has dealt with a lot. She made a costly mistake. She has owned it, but it's tough. And of course, because of she is in the spotlight, it is the Olympics, and because of what happened, her testing positive for marijuana, and she admitted that she smoked marijuana, dealing with the grief of losing her mother. You know, it's a world conversation, so you live that out on the world stage. And so I want to talk a little bit about that story. I also want to talk about, as it relates to the Olympics, I want to talk about these soul caps, and that the IOC or the Olympics has outlawed or banned, I guess is a better, more appropriate term. And I don't understand why. I mean, okay, maybe I understand why, but there's no real good reason to ban these soul caps. And so soul caps are the swim caps that women, typically women of color, Black women of color, who wear their hair natural. Our hair is bigger, and so it may not fit under the regular swim caps. So they have these soul caps, which are just a bigger, more fuller cap. And so why can't they wear those? So I want to get your thoughts about that. And of course, Simone Biles is just amazing. I don't think she ever really gets quite the credit that she deserves, but the Olympics are coming up, and there's a lot happening there. So we're going to talk about the Olympics. We're also going to talk about the NBA Finals, which tip off tonight. It is the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. Game 1 is tonight. So I have been very clear throughout these playoffs that I'm all in on the Suns, right? And so I'm trying to match my objectivity with who I'm pulling for. I've made it clear. I am, in fact, I'm pulling for the Suns. Now, I don't have anything against the Bucks. I mean, I like PJ Tucker. I like what he did for Houston. I like what he's meant to that team, and other guys on that team as well. So, but I'm pulling for the Suns because of Chris Paul, because of Monty Williams, just because of the story. And I'd love to know who you're picking, who you have. I understand that Giannis is doubtful for game 1 at least. So they're going to, Milwaukee's going to have to bring their best. They play in Phoenix. Game 1 is tonight. Phoenix is a 6-point favorite. The Suns, so game 1's tonight. I expect it to be a pretty good series, but I'm hoping that the Suns win it, and I don't really care. Let me just tell you in advance, if you then come back, if the Suns win it, I mean, it's not done. They got to play and say, well, look how they got there. Nope, not doing that. They play the teams in front of them. They dealt with their own injuries. Look at Chris Paul. First he had the shoulder, then he had COVID. He was out for 10 days. And so, we're going to go with whoever wins. All you can do is play the teams ahead of you, play the squad that the other team puts on the court field, whatever the case may be. And there is no asterisk or anything like that. So I'm just saying in advance, the Suns have not won it. They've got to play and win, and they've got to play. They got to win it. It's not enough just to get there. So we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA Finals. I'm going to let you hear from Chris Paul. I'm going to let you hear from ESPN and Tim Legler, who does a bit of a preview. And we're also going to talk about, speaking of ESPN, the story about Maria Taylor and Rachel Nichols. And I'm going to share some thoughts I have about that. Okay, so a lot to get to on today's show. I welcome your input along the way. Good morning, Sylvia, my sister. Welcome. Good morning, Charles Lamar Drayton. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy July. Can you guys believe that we have already completed the first half of the year? We are into the second half of the year. Good morning, Paul Wright. Paul says Darvin Ham. All right. And Charles is picking the Suns, Team Suns. Absolutely. So I'm pulling for the Suns, but I'm actually picking the Suns. I'm actually picking them to win. I just think that their chemistry, their vibe, their coaching, I'm going with the Suns. And so I'm hoping for a good series, and that would be good for it to be competitive, some good basketball. I'm looking forward to it. Game 1 is tonight. Okay. And of course, I mentioned, if you saw any of the things I posted promoting the show, talking about the Houston Astros and that pitching rotation. All right. The pitching rotation is really those young pitchers. Some of them we saw last year and in the kind of funky COVID season. And you're like, can these young guys build on what they're doing? Can this staff grow? And so, yeah, they are, the pitching rotation is coming into its own, and it's great. It relieves the bullpen, right? Because if they can go deeper, if you can get a good 5 or 6 innings out of your starter, that's what you want in this day and time. So the question is, can the Houston Astros, can they sustain it? Can this carry them through the summer? Now, here's the deal. There's a lot of baseball left, okay? You always hear me talk about it. It's so early. And the key is being healthy, just like what we're seeing in the NBA Finals. The key is the health of the staff. And so while we talk about this young pitching staff and how they're coming together, you're right. Here we have, hey, Marcus Hackett. He's picking the Bucks. He says that Giannis will outplay. He might if he plays, but you have the rest of the team. I just think there's so many variables, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. So Marcus is picking the Bucks. But when I talk about this Astros pitching rotation, and I have to agree with Charles, they have matured really quickly. They've really matured quickly. But here's the other thing, and not just because I'm a Dusty Baker fan, but I think you've got to give some credit to the job that Dusty and James Click, the general manager, have done in terms of putting this team together and navigating, getting them to play together. They believe in Dusty. Some of the veterans it's like, I was doing a show on the local CBS affiliate the other day, and somebody brought up that when the Astros were in New York and Jose Altuve hit that home run, it was like it turned something on for him or reignited him or kind of started. It was just the thing they needed, right? And then so you have the veterans, the Altuves and the Correas and the other guys on this team who are able to lead the young guys. And so I think they're fun to watch. And here's something else. And Jeremy Booth said this, and so I have to credit him because I'm stealing it from him. But he said the Astros may not be the most talented team, but they're really playing baseball. Like they're playing the game the way it should be played. And so that's why they're winning. And those are the teams that you see in postseason. And so this team has a legitimate shot at winning a World Series. I mean, they have come together as a team. they're, last year because they had there were no fans. Now they're going to these ballparks. The fans are booing them. They're talking about something that happened in 2017, right? But they're still holding that against the Astros and not. They're drawing the ire of every road city they go to, right? The stadium, the fans, and they're playing anyway. They're competing, they're winning, and I'm excited to watch them, right? Charles says they've done a great job, particularly after losing great players. Exactly. We knew they were not going to be able to keep Springer, just because of the price that he could command. And you can't really be mad at him for getting that price. And so next year, who knows whether or not they'll be able to keep Correa. We don't know. But what we do know is this current team has enough talent. We know they're going to have offense, right? We know they can hit the ball. But seeing them defensively and seeing the pitching come together, that's exciting. So, yeah, you're right, Charles. Dusty deserves all the accolades he gets. I would love for the Astros to win a World Series. All right. Obviously, I'm a Houstonian. I cover the Astros. But really, I'd like to see Dusty win a championship, right? I ride with Dusty. I followed him throughout his career. Now he's in Houston. I'd like to see him win a championship. So the Astros are back in town for a homestand, and I'm going to try to get out there. They're playing the Athletics today. Let's see. What is the schedule? So yeah, they're in town playing the Athletics. So I'm trying to find. Okay, so then tomorrow they're also playing the Athletics in a night game. And then Thursday, I'm going to try to get out there maybe this weekend. I think there's a 1:00 game on Thursday, an afternoon game. I don't know that I can make that one, but let's see here. Anyway, I'm going to get out there soon to see the Houston Astros, and quite frankly, I'm not going tonight. It's game 1 of the NBA Finals, and I don't want to deal with the rain. I know it'll be covered, but that way I can watch both. I can watch the Astros, and I can watch game 1 of the Finals. So I will be watching both games from home unless the rain clears up, and then I do something different, but I'm pretty much going to watch it from home. So that's kind of my Astros update. You know how we feel about the Astros here. We keep baseball as a part of the conversation. And now we're going to move on to the NBA Finals. That's coming up tonight, right? Game 1. I told you who I'm picking. I'm going to let you hear from Chris Paul. And I'm going to fast forward through some of the interview because it's, quite frankly, I wasn't really excited about.
Like Maxwell, now let's go to see.
About some of it. Because the first part of it was.
And I think for him, not only been a good player in his own right.
I need to get you to where instead of making you listen to all of that.
I hate to have him, but just like when we went to the bubble, everything was discussed as far as the players and the full body of players. Everything that's good for this guy and that guy might not be the same for that guy, but everything has always been a conversation, and it's going to continue to be that way. So, if people don't like it, then everybody got the same opportunity to be a part of all these conversations.
Mark in the middle. Chris, what's the last couple of days been like? Have there been any phone calls, or texts that really meant a lot to you? And when you see the signatures behind you, like NBA Finals, what does that really mean to finally be here?
It's different. Obviously, having practice here, not at the practice facility, but it's still basketball. I think we all locked into the goal at hand, and not much. Just I don't know. It's weird, no games being on. I usually watch games every day, so that's probably the part that sucks. That's probably the part that sucks the most. But I'd rather be playing than not. But other than that, just life.
Any messages or calls or that meant something to you?
Probably. I don't know. I'm usually on the phone with my kids, day in and day out, seeing what they got going on and just getting ready, practicing, body work, all that different type of stuff. So, yeah, I don't even know, Mark. Yeah.
That was Mark Spears from the Undefeated asking him that last question. And really, people have been a lot of people have been excited for Chris Paul. I mean, some people I don't like him. You either really like him or you don't, right? So wherever you fall in the spectrum. And so he said, talking to his kids day in, day out, doing body work. And I want to go back to that because 16 years in the league, you don't get to be there without really taking care of your body. Yep, he's had some injury challenges, right? He had a shoulder issue this postseason. He had COVID, right? And even after being vaccinated, which is my understanding. But because he's always taking care of his body and putting in the work, he's able to, I want to say bounce back, but kind of bounce back. I want to share this, which really kind of a tweet that resurfaced. And when I was doing the show with the guys on Channel 11 this weekend, we talked about it before, not on the air, but off mic. And it was a tweet that Daniel Gotera from KHOU posted from a post-game interview a few years ago with the Rockets. And he shared, let me see. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. All right. So this is, let me show you this. So this is a tweet that happened after a game. Daniel posted it back when it happened, and somebody found it this weekend and brought it back up. I just think it sums up so much. Listen to this. Wait, let me go to it.
My trade happened and I had a chance to opt in. That's what gave us the ability to get Tuck. And I remember where I was. I was at Tyson Chandler's house when Tuck hit me and said he was thinking about coming here, and I was like, definitely. We were supposed to go to college together, but that's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? So for us and our families to know each other as well as they know each other, for us to finally get an opportunity to play together, on the same team after knowing each other for so long, and both of us never being, past, that round or whatnot, it's cool and special to get a chance to do it with a guy I've been with since we were little.
Cute love story, man.
Hey, relax.
Why are you just gonna say something? Gotta say something. Cute.
My trade happened and I had a chance to opt in.
Okay.
That's what gave us the ability to get Tuck. And I remember where
I just had to play that. That to me sums up so much, right? This was the Rockets were headed to the Western Conference Finals, and it was the first year that Chris Paul was a Rocket and PJ was a Rocket. They grew up together in North Carolina. They have a lot of history, and someone asked about it, and that was, so they were having that moment, and then there was James. And so back then it was kind of funny, but when you fast forward to what we have come to really know about the situation, or as it deteriorated in terms of James and Chris, that little comment was very telling, if you will. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. So James Harden is not in these NBA finals, but Chris Paul and PJ Tucker are two former Rockets, and they were all on that team together. Imagine if they could have just kept the team together where they could be now. It doesn't matter because that didn't happen. Daryl Morey, I give him, people want to blame James. I look at Daryl Morey. He's the general manager who was okay with making that move to ship Chris off to Oklahoma City, and for the Westbrook trade, and then of course the next year he left, Harden left, Russ left, and not in this particular order. PJ Tucker left. The Rockets are a lottery team. PJ Tucker is in Milwaukee. CP3 is 2 teams removed and is in Phoenix. Of course, each team that he went to, the Oklahoma City team he went to last year, he helped lead them to the playoffs and almost past the Rockets. And now he's with this young Suns team and has led them to the NBA Finals. PJ Tucker is in Milwaukee, and they will meet each other in the NBA Finals. So another just great story. Hey, John Williams, welcome to the show. Hope you're well, my friend. Welcome. I like this. Charles says they're great to watch in person because I know people. I have seen them play in person. Yes, you do. Charles, of course, was one of the winners of our Chalk Talk giveaway for Astros tickets. So we'll give some more away. We'll do it as a contest. And we still are going to still pay attention. I'm working on the contest rules for the Year of Yoga giveaway. And yes, you said he's a real basketball player, talking about Chris Paul. Absolutely. Karma. That's all I can say. So John Williams says, so much to unpack. Going for the Suns. Paul deserves a ring, but will have to play well and to win the ship. Sha'Carri. So John says is in a peculiar spot. I wish her well, but it is a tough spot to be in. I'm praying for her, and I wish her well in future Olympics. It is systemic racism and what is happening in the Olympics against our people, especially our sisters who have earned the right to run, swim, do whatever God has gifted them to do. Okay, I'm glad thank you for that, John. Segue into that. We'll talk about Sha'Carri. So, she, first of all, the rules are probably somewhat antiquated, right? But they are what the rules are right now. I know there's people that are pulling for her, trying to, hope that she can run. If she's able to get to the Olympics, because she has a 1-month suspension, she will not be able to run in a 100 meter, her signature race. She may be able to run in the 4x100. Okay. So she smoked marijuana, which is on the banned substance list. It is. Now, the question about whether or not it should be is a fair question. It's legal in 18, 19 states, and another 18 or 19 states it's legal for medical use. It is not a performance enhancing drug, but it is on the list. All right. So, and let me say this. When you talk about Michael Phelps, and so I'm going to say this, that is not a good comparison. Michael Phelps did not test positive at the trials for marijuana. He was caught on tape smoking marijuana. He was suspended. I think it may have been for 3 or 5 months. I forget the time frame, but it was his suspension was over before the Olympics. So that's a distinct difference, right? I think it's more appropriate to talk about the rule, with all that she has going on, losing her mom. She said she smokes marijuana to deal with, the grief and what she was dealing with and the loss of her mother. She was also in a state where marijuana is legal, but it is on the ban list. And so I think 2 things can be true. The rule is antiquated, and they're going to have to revisit it as more and more states and as other places around the world have it legal. That's something that they're going to have to look at. But here's something that I would like to see happen. And you've heard me say this about athletes in other sports. Yeah, you can say they need a good team. That's true. But what they also need is real mentorship from somebody who can relate to what they're going through. Nobody can always relate to what you're personally dealing with, but who can relate to the moment, the sport, the opportunity, right? They've been there, Are they surrounding these athletes with some of those people? You've heard me talk about it in terms of football. Having a good team is great, but having that mentorship and leadership from somebody that can speak to it, what you're dealing with, even more than your team, unless that person's a part of your team, I think is important. I would love for a Sha'Carri, a Richardson to be able to sit down and talk to a Jackie Joyner-Kersee, right? An Olympic champion of many years, who has been involved in the sport, has been a champion, came up in East St. Louis, and could perhaps provide some guidance and some direction. I think I'd like to see that happen, and I've seen people reaching out to her on social media. I'm sure, they're blowing up her phone. Whether they're agents or teams of people, I've seen that. But what I'd love to see is that sort of mentorship or leadership, right? And so that's what I think is unfortunate. I hope that she, gets the support that she needs. She owned it. She apologized. She didn't make any excuses for it. But the support and the mentorship is what I hope she gets. And I also hope that the IOC comes to terms with this rule, because perhaps it's not the best rule. Perhaps that should not be a banned substance. I don't know. That is the conversation I would like to see had. I think that's what's really important. But she has, it was just unfortunate to see. I don't know how else to say it. And John says rules are rules. Everyone must abide by them. The rules are old and outdated and have not been revisited in decades. Just like the Constitution, mentorship would definitely be the way to go with Sha'Carri and others coming up in the ranks. Absolutely. I mean, they need somebody, like I say, who can relate to the moment. Because, I could talk to you about some things in terms of your image and what you say and how you say it and when you say it. But what I can't do, and I was an athlete, I'll always be an athlete, but I never competed in the Olympics. So I can't talk to you about that moment. I work with people who've been there, but I can't talk to you about that moment, right? There are people who can. And so I think about some of the Olympic greats who could be a great support system for Sha'Carri. And I say Jackie Joyner-Kersee because she's someone I know, and I just think the world of Jackie. She was, if people are comparing Sha'Carri to Flojo, who of course they were sister-in-laws. So she competed and trained with Flojo, knew her well, knew her story. That was her family. And so there's just a lot that sort of, I say, mentorship relationship could do. Now, I don't know if they've talked, I don't know any of that. I haven't talked to Jackie about any of this. I just feel like when I hear some of these stories, that's the first thing that comes to mind. The rules are antiquated and outdated, but they are the rules. And they need some support and mentorship from people who have been in the moment. So that's what I would say about that. Now, here's the other story, and I'm going to let you hear. So the whole soul cap thing is insane, right? That is insane. I feel like that's racist. I don't know how else to put it. Like, what do you mean I can't put a cap that'll fit over my hair? And my hair is short, but so I could probably wear one of those regular caps. But if I had, messing up my hair, my sister's going to say something about it. If I were to let my hair grow out in its natural state, it'd be bigger and it wouldn't fit in one of those cute little caps that the other women are able to wear. And I know that those caps were not made for us and our hair, but now there are caps that are. So we don't get to wear caps that work for our hair? Come on. You don't want us to swim? I mean, the whole swimming piece, I just thought it was, you're right. It is the U.S. You're right. It wasn't the IOC that suspended her. It was the USA team. So I thank you for that. But yeah, all of the rules are outdated. It's not the IOC. It didn't even, because it didn't even get to that point. If she had arrived in Tokyo, then that's when they would take over and probably test her getting off the plane. Um, but yes, you're right. And the suspension, and the reason that she can perhaps compete in the 4x100 is because of when it's run in terms of that month. She has to serve the 1 month suspension. So it's a matter of whether or not will the team take her and say take her for that event, or will they say no, we're just going to replace you completely? I think that's what's up in the air. Those are the things that we don't know the answer to just yet, right? And so let you hear from her. She did an interview last week, and on the Today Show. I'm going to let you hear part of the interview. I'm going to fast forward to really the part where she's talking, because the other part is just kind of leading up to it.
We're back 8:13.
I want to just get you to where she is on screen. Okay. Here we go.
Now, good morning, Sha'Carri. I just want to ask a simple question first. How are you doing?
I'm blessed to be alive. That's about it.
This is not easy. This is a hard moment that you're in right now. Thank you for being on. I know you wanted to tell your story. So tell me, what happened? What led up to this positive test?
Honestly, I want to take responsibility for my actions. I know what I did. I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm allowed not to do. And I still made that decision. Not making an excuse or looking for any empathy in my case, but just however, being in that position of my life, finding out something like that, I would say is probably one of the biggest things that have impacted me positively and negatively in my life when it comes to dealing with the relationship I have with my mother. That definitely was a very heavy topic on me. And people don't understand what it's like to have to. Or people do. We all have our different shoes. We all have our different things we do. But put on the face, I have to go in front of the world. And put on the world. And hide my pain. Who? I don't know. Who are you? I don't know. Who am I to tell you how to cope? You're dealing with a pain, or you're dealing with a struggle that you've never experienced before, or that you've never thought you would have to deal with. Like, who am I to tell you how to cope? Who am I to tell you you're wrong for hurting? I think just honestly just leading up to that, dealing with my mental health, dealing with my mental assets, leading up to the games, every time I get on the track, definitely expected to be a record-breaking time or something like that. So just preparing yourself was also just another thing. This actually my first full professional career, my first full professional circuit. This year due to the pandemic. So just considering all of that, a long time, my agent, my sponsorship, my family, we did all of this stuff.
Sha'Carri, I just want people to understand where you're coming from, and tell me if this is correct. But it was a few days before your big race in the trials. You found out that your biological mother had passed away. You found out when a reporter told you. And it was after that that you ingested some kind of marijuana. I should mention you were in Oregon. It's legal in Oregon. You didn't violate any law, but it was against the rules of your sport, and as you said, you knew that. Is that what happened? Is that what happened? Is that how this unfolded?
Honestly, that is the story. I had an interview scheduled with my agent. I knew I was having an interview. Going to the interview. I was just thinking, information come from a complete stranger. Trigger was definitely nerve shocking. It was definitely nerve shocking. How are you to tell me that? No offense against him at all. His job, but definitely that sent me in a state of mind, and a state of panic, of emotional, if anything, panic, and still knowing that I still, even though I'm here, I still have to go out and put on a performance for my dream, go out there and to what it is. So yes, definitely triggered. So yes, definitely triggered. From there, just blinded by emotions, blinded by badness, blinded by just hurting, hiding hurt. For the fact that I know that I can't hide myself. At least in some type of way, I was just trying to hide my.
So I wanted to share that interview to get to that point where she talks about what happened. Savannah kind of brought it back around. Like, so you had a complete stranger to tell you that your mother had passed away. And like she said, that she's accepting the responsibility. She knows it was wrong. She's not making excuses. I appreciate that, So, but that's what happened. Great point that Savannah made, that you were in a state where it's legal, so she didn't break any laws, but it is against the rules of your sport. The rules are antiquated. That's a problem. I'd like to see, hopefully, something can be done. I don't really know what can be done. I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want. I doubt that they're going to make an exception for Sha'Carri. I hope that she can at least go and run the 4x100, because the suspension will be over before that race starts. So that's my hope for her. And again, that she gets the kind of mentorship and support to help her navigate some of these times. She's it's a lot for a young person. Just being in the moment and competing at that level, like she said, for the first time as a professional, that's a lot. And with the relationship that she had with her biological mother, but to find that out from a complete stranger. And like she said, she didn't hold anything against him, but I do. You shouldn't be the person. I'm sorry. You should not be the person. I should not be the person giving that kind of news to a stranger. This wasn't somebody that she was friends with who happened to be a reporter, but even then, you wouldn't do it in an interview setting. So that's problematic for me. So that aside, just wishing her the best and sending her lots of good vibes and energy and prayers. And so that's what I think about it. I've had people ask me about my thoughts about Sha'Carri, and so I wanted to put it into perspective, but I had to give you kind of the whole perspective of what I think. So that is that. Charles says, I think the man and Black women are treated by these athletic governing bodies is despicable. Absolutely. And I think we go back to just the soul caps, like that you're telling us we can't wear the kind of swim caps we need, right? Why is that? And I think I read something where it said basically like you don't need it, like your hair doesn't need it or something crazy, so the drag is okay that we have the drag. I think that is insane. And I think it's insane. And I was trying to pull up something. But the other thing about these Olympic Games is that Simone Biles is clearly the person to watch when you look at gymnastics in the Olympics. She became the first woman to win. Well, wow, she's won more than that now. She wins everything, right? She is, I don't know that people, maybe because we've just seen her do it so much and see her win and compete at such a level and win everything, keep challenging herself, keep making it more difficult in terms of her routines. And she says, the new vault is so dangerous that gymnastics for now limits the scoring rewards for trying it. So because her new vault routine is dangerous, they limit the scoring walk. I mean, they limit what she can score on it. And she says it's unfair. I agree. Because she tries something that's more difficult, you've determined that it's dangerous, so she doesn't get the points for it? I mean, what is that? One of the things that she's known for is these moves that she makes, these things that she adds to her routines that nobody else does, right? That is part of what makes her so special. Her latest skill is called a Yurchenko double pike. And she attempted it a while back, and it's considered so challenging that nobody else has attempted it in competition, right? Like it's the kind of maneuver that's done much more easily by a platform diver than with the help of gravity and the safety of a soft landing, right? But not a gymnast. So she executes it. She gets enough speed, strength, and power. She nails it. And I don't think she should be penalized because they think it's dangerous. That's insane to me. I don't even have any other words. As you can tell, I'm rarely at a loss for words. I don't have any other words. Charles says the exact opposite should be true. She should get more points. Exactly. It's like, because I'm better at something doesn't mean that I should be limited. It's kind of like if you do a job and people say, well, you make it look easy, so we shouldn't pay you as much. No, you should pay me more because I'm efficient and I'm really good at it. I just think that's the most insane approach to have, but that's the kind of thing that's happening. So you got Simone that's having to get less points because she's doing a double pike and something that nobody else can do. So, it's kind of dangerous, so we're going to limit the points you make. You have the swimmers and they're like, nah, you can't wear those soul caps to cover your hair because your hair is bigger, because our hair is bigger, but it's natural. It's not straight and fine because that's hair texture. And I shouldn't be penalized for my hair texture. You're saying my hair has to be like, I don't know, Becky, and I say that because pick a person, or, like Michael Phelps or somebody. No, I should be able to wear what fits my hair. It's not taken away from anybody else. And it's just a bigger cap that allows for more space. That's happening, okay? And then the other story I wanted to get to was what's happening at ESPN. So a story was leaked recently, audio of Rachel Nichols, who is a reporter for ESPN. She hosts, a reporter anchor. She hosts this show called The Jump. She does a lot of reporting, sideline reporting. And she had a conversation and it was picked up on the servers at ESPN and it was shared. Okay. So basically here's the deal. Rachel Nichols, apparently the people at ESPN management told her that she was going to be the host of the NBA Finals, the pregame and the halftime and postgame show. But Maria Taylor, for the whole year, had been hosting Inside the NBA. And if you think about the show, you think about the season, typically the person who hosts Inside the NBA does end up hosting the NBA Finals. Well, Rachel Nichols was not happy that she did not get to host the NBA Finals the NBA Finals. And she talked about it. And in her comments, she said because ESPN has had they've not done well in terms of their diversity piece, that basically them giving the job to Maria was it was a diversity move. And then she said, nothing against Maria. This is not a knock on her. Well, yeah, it is a knock on her because you just decided that you basically just said she got it because she's Black. I mean, how many of us have to hear those things? Women in television, of course, women in sports. I deal with, even today, with almost 30 years of experience. Probably I do have 30 years of experience with women who act like I shouldn't be where I am. I shouldn't be in the room. I shouldn't be, why is she? I see it all the time. I'm sorry. White women, let me be clear. And, because there are locally, there are no other Black women. So perhaps there's some who would look at me like, well, what do you do? It's real. And so her issue should have been with ESPN. But here's the other thing. How is ESPN going, how are you going to promise somebody else's job to Rachel Nichols? You created this madness, right? That was inappropriate. Maria was doing a job, and then you told Rachel it was going to be her job, and now you got a real big old mess. So how about this? Maybe Maria's better at the job. Maybe Maria earned the job. Maybe she does a good job at it, right? And so the problem is that what it says is, and I heard Jamel Hill say this in an interview, ESPN management didn't really support Maria, because if so, you would have never told anybody, Rachel, Bob, Susie, or Joe, that they were going to have the job she had if you supported her. What in the world? That's some foolishness. And so that's my thought about that. Charles says Taylor is just better. I think she is better. She definitely, there's no reason to think that she needed to be replaced. She's been hosting inside the NBA. Why would they take her off? That is what has typically happened. The person that hosts inside the NBA will host the final show. So, and listen, for Rachel to say, I don't have a problem with Maria. I mean, I think she should get whatever's coming to her, but basically just not my job. But it's not your job, and for you to then say it's a diversity move, or because of ESPN's problem with diversity, they made this move. You're saying that she got the job because she's Black. This is why sometimes there's such frustration, because it's 2021, and after all that's happened, this is still happening. So, Taylor not really feeling it. Maria's not really feeling that whole Rachel saying, no, it's not anything against you. Yeah, it is, because you've just said that I'm in a job because it's so they can do better at being diverse. Really? Okay. Charles says, I heard it when I decided to attend Rice all those years ago, until I told them my grades and my SAT score. We always have to be twice as good. Absolutely. And do twice as much. I mean, we have to show up more. We have to do more. We have to be on it. And so has Maria. I don't know her personally. She knows what she's talking about. She does a good job. And it's more than diversity. Okay. Let's just, it's more than a diversity move. John says Nichols was told she was to host at first the NBA Finals in the bubble, but when she was pushed to the side by ESPN, and ESPN created this mess, ESPN is at fault. ESPN did create it. Shelby Houlihan tested positive for steroids and was being considered to still be able to run until the Heat came on to also ban her from the Olympics. The rules are different, right, John? Thank you for that reminder. The rules are different, but let's go back to the Rachel Nichols thing. Yeah, the ESPN is a problem, but Rachel is also a problem, right? Because she didn't have to take it to the, well, yeah, Maria's fine. I like her. It's not a problem with her. And for her to get whatever job, just not my job. But to tie the diversity piece into it, that's my issue with Rachel, because that's what happens with so many of them. Yeah, well, you're there and you're fine, but because you're Black, they needed to check that box. When quite frankly, white women check the box for more diversity jobs than any of us. Yeah, I said it. Don't at me, okay? Because they're considered minorities. And whether it's contracts for business, they check the box. And so that also happens in jobs. So, hey, Rachel checked the diversity box as well. But ESPN is a mess. They created the problem. And then Rachel stepped in it when she, made it a diversity issue. So it's bad all the way around. But what it also says is that ESPN didn't really support Maria, because they should not have promised Rachel Maria's job. That's just it. Now, here's what's interesting. Maria's contract, I believe, is coming up. Does she stay at ESPN? Does she go someplace else and work? Who knows? What will happen, and yeah, Nichols made it racial for sure and felt threatened by Maria, who is better than Nichols. Yeah, it's usually something, it's difficult for them to admit that, okay, this person works and has talent. It must be racial, because how else could they be here? I mean, it's my job. I should have had it. No doubt about it. We shouldn't even be having the conversation, because ESPN should not have promised Rachel Maria's job. Absolutely. Like, Rick said, this is why my company made a working while Black film that illustrates how Black folks face systemic racism in the workplace. The trauma of Black women in our documentary at the hands of white women is evident. Here's a trailer. Oh, thank you for dropping that. Thank you for dropping that link in the chat. I appreciate it, Rick. I'm gonna check it out. I look forward to seeing that. I didn't know that you did a film, but thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it is. There's a lot of, and when people say, oh, there's no such thing as systemic racism, yeah, you just don't really know what it looks like. you don't, because you don't experience it, right? But it exists, and it's real, and it's challenging. And I just hope that Maria has a great finals. I'm sure that she will. And that she gets whatever works best for her at the end of this finals. If she stays at ESPN and gets a new contract, whatever she does, I'm sure she'll be fine. I just hope the best for her. And hopefully it's a lesson for not just Rachel, but for other Rachels out there. You might want to fall back on it's a diversity move. If you think it, be smart enough not to say it. That's all I got. All right. To be us. To Work is a documentary, and the website is tobeusproductions.com. Okay, thank you for that. Absolutely. And it's in the chat. So if anyone wants to see the documentary that Cedric's his company produced, please check it out. And Charles says this systemic racism infects every aspect of American society. Absolutely. And the way that we deal with it is we have to first really acknowledge that it exists. And that's some of what we have going on. That's some of the fight, against critical race theory, which is a whole nother show. But if we don't talk about what this thing is, we will never be able to defeat it. And so, yeah, it is. There's a lot of work still left to do, but listen, that's why I'm glad that you guys join me every Tuesday, so we can have these very real conversations that I probably wouldn't be able to have someplace else if I didn't have editorial control of my show. But these are conversations that we need to have. And so I appreciate you showing up. I ask you to, if you will, share the video as we continue to grow the Chalk Talk tribe. And, if you have things that you would like for me to check out or people you'd like for me to interview, let me know. You can hit me up on Facebook here. You can send me notes on Instagram. And you can always email me at kim@kimydavis.com. You can reach me there and let me know what's on your mind. Right. I would love to hear from you. And I'd love to know the things that you would like to see. Let's go here. Absolutely. Looking for a distribution deal, not out yet. Premiere will be late summer or early fall in Houston, and you will be invited. Thank you for your platform. Hey, thank you so much, Rick. I'd love to talk to you about it if I can help in any way. If you have a premiere and you want somebody to host it, hit me up. But I'm going to check out the trailer. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you, John. I appreciate it. I'm trying to get more people to log in. We'll certainly share the video with others. I appreciate you guys, because otherwise I'd just be sitting here talking to myself, which, as you know, I could probably do, but it would not be nearly as fun. So listen, we're out of time for today. Thank you so much for being a part of the Chalk Talk tribe and family. And make sure that you're taking good care of yourself. If you haven't gotten the vaccine, please get vaccinated. Make sure that you're still practicing social distancing, that when you're going into crowded spaces, you might want to consider wearing a mask. It's still, it's still some craziness out there. And in terms of the virus, and it's rampant. People who seem to be contracting it now, many of them have not had the vaccine. It's available. Get it. And still, make smart decisions about where you go. Wash your hands. Washing your hands always is a good thing. I keep sanitizer with me everywhere I go in case I'm not able to, get soap and water right away. Make sure you're doing that. And remember, do something kind for yourself and something kind for somebody else. Until next Tuesday, guys, have a great week. Follow me on social media. I'll be talking about the NBA Finals. I'll be talking about the Astros and whatever else is happening. I'll see you next Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.